Today's book bits is from the book The Royal Marriages from Lady C. So I'm going to tell you a fun tale out of this book, and it's actually about Prince Andrew, who back then was known as Randy Andy, and KOO Stark. And I learned something when I read this, because I always had an image of KOO Stark as someone sort of a little unsavoury or someone who sort of wasn't up to the mark, so to speak. But I can see now, having read Lady C's book and her very clear-eyed estimation of KOO Stark, that actually it was a bit of a tragedy they didn't end up together. Because, you know, the way she writes about her and the way the royals responded to her and the way other people that knew them responded to KOO Stark, she was actually quite admired. Everyone thought that she would have made a great duchess. She was very friendly, she was very open, she wasn't pretentious, she knew how to behave in society, she knew what to do, she was friendly, she got on great with the Queen. And so it actually was a bit of a tragedy that they didn't end up together. And when you look at the total mess of what has happened to Prince Andrew's life, and really the total mess that is Fergie's life, and the total mess that was Charles and Diana, you can sort of see that maybe they would have been better off being allowed to actually marry people that they first fell in love with, and then everything might have turned out okay. So when Andrew got back from the Falklands War, he actually met KOO Stark and they fell in love. And it was a genuine, really close relationship. She took her to meet the Queen. The Queen loved her, thought she was fantastic. And things escalated to the point where they were taking a pre-engagement holiday to the island of Mustique, and they were actually going to stay at Princess Margaret's house. And they were going to it was all arranged that pretty much the engagement was going to happen. He hadn't formally asked her yet, but it had been discussed. It was expected. And this was just like a little pre-engagement fling before they got down to the serious business. Unfortunately, if you remember the old days of the press pack, and I'm not talking Harry and Meghan's version of a press pack where it's really a Harry Potter premiere, but there used to be the camera bank, and it used to be, you know, the long lenses and everything, and they used to be on barges off the island of Mustique, and they used to, be getting the royals when they frolicked on the beach, and it was awful. Like, it was very intrusive because there was no regulation back then, so it was genuinely awful when all the paparazzi descended on a holiday. And that's what happened to Randy Andy and KOO Stark, because they were actually spotted on the plane. And an interesting little side note is they booked tickets on the plane as Mr. and Mrs. Cambridge. Don't know what the Cambridges would think about that. So they were hounded through this holiday, horribly hounded, couldn't do a thing, were holed up in the house, couldn't go to the beach, couldn't go swimming, couldn't do anything. It was just horrible. And then, of course, all the headlines started because they delved into KOO's background. And she appeared when she was 16 or 17 in a film that was perfectly fine, but she happened to appear naked from the waist up, and so they called her a soft porn actress. It wasn't even a soft porn film, it wasn't even a porn film. It was just a film, and she did appear, unfortunately, topless. But these headlines really affected Andrew, because I think it sort of worried him, because he was Mr. Popular Prince after the Falklands War. He was the returning war hero, and he probably was really worried about his image. Prince Andrew is the sort of person that strikes me as very concerned about his image, like very concerned about it. So he dashed back to talk to Mummy and Daddy, and KOO went off home. And Prince Philip at that point actually advised him to break it off. Now, I suspect that Prince Philip probably would have backed him and given it a go if Prince Andrew had stuck to his guns at that point. I think Prince Andrew probably would have admired, no, maybe not, because they really made them break, Prince Charles and Camilla break up, didn't they? So maybe not. I'm living in a fantasy world. So, yeah. So Andrew was forced to break it off. But if you want to hear the final kicker of this story, is the way Prince Andrew broke it off with KOO Stark. Now, don't forget, they were serious. They were deeply in love. She was expecting to be asked to be his wife, and, you know, they were very, very close. There was a lot had gone under the bridge. He just told the Buckingham Palace switchboard not to put her calls through any longer. That really says it all about Andrew, doesn't it? And I'll be back with another book bits very soon. Bye.